before the drinks. We don't have much time, and we have a lot to cover. I have the honor to close this as I opened it, and I'm coming back to the same, basically, change. So we often say the only constant is change. But we have actually also, I think, during these days challenged it further because the advent of Gen AI has literally changed everything, everywhere, all at once. At the same time, many of us have also led companies and led change for many, many years. And I think also many of us think that we are quite good at it, right? And even when you ask around in your organization, you ask people if they want to change. Yeah, everybody wants to change, but when it comes to execution, sometimes it can be difficult. So I think over the last, looking back over my past 2 decades in this industry, I think we were able to get things done somewhere or other. But the recent years, I really think that it has become more complex. I read the other day in an article that we went from holy crisis to perma-crisis. It sounds like, ooh. But I mean, just think about it. Since 2020, since the pandemic, it has been kind of a constant somehow. So one thing is, of course, how do we lead in a world and in macro trends as well, where we suddenly not only need to think about our business, but also about ethics and sustainability. I have the pleasure to introduce this very distinguished panels of business executives. We agreed we will not talk about age, but there are decades and decades of experience here. We also have, was that so funny? And of course, we have also tried to make it diverse in terms of regions, in terms of representing you as the GALA community. And we want to explore how leadership has changed. And very importantly, what is needed to have a leadership of the future. So therefore, we want to ask these great minds to reflect on the experience they have. And also, and this is a challenge I put to them, is not only reflect on the last years or decades, but the last 2 days. What have you learned the last 2 days? Because change is happening as we speak. And I hope that all of you also have reflected of what you have learned the last 2 days, because this is the value we want to give to you. So let us get started. Why not start in the very far end of Asia?
Yes, I mean, is this by geography? No. Okay, so my name is Shirley Yeng, and I'm from Success Glow, Singapore. So welcome everybody, and this is just the start. Yeah.
My name, is it okay? Yeah? Okay. My name is Betty Galeano. I'm coming from South America, from Argentina. I was born in the land of Messi, so I'm a winner. And I am here representing my region, and glad to be part of this wonderful group. My company is Ocean Translations.
My name is Véronique Özkaya. I am a French national. I'm currently living in Turkey, and I somewhat represent Europe and Middle East.
My name is Latha Sukumar. I'm from Toronto, Canada, and with MCIS Language Solutions.
My name is Golovine. I'm with Masterword Services, and I come from Texas, United States.
Oh, we can hear that.
The land of cowboys.
Thank you.
And I am Claudia Mirza. I am the founder of Aagaard, and also just acquired a company called Run My Process. And I also come from Texas, the land of cowboys.
So one thing, because we want to talk about leadership here, also a challenge I gave to it, but many of you, I think, knew it immediately when I asked you. So in one sentence, all of you, what is your leadership philosophy? Maybe we just start with you, Claudia.
Wow, you are putting pressure on me. Well, leadership philosophy, I ride horses. I ride a lot of horses for a living, and I realized that we had been using a lot of horses to be able to teach leadership. And with leadership, it's about mutual respect. Whenever a horse overpowers you, you lose control. And whenever the rider overpowers the horse, you lose control. So this is about balance and mutual respect. The other thing I would like to say is leadership right now is about neuroplasticity to be able to adapt to change.
Thank you. Ludmila.
Well, my leadership philosophy has changed through the years, and of course in the last, I wouldn't say 2 days, but definitely a few years. And I would say the one principle of leadership that withstood time is enthusiasm. Because enthusiasm allows you to try new things, make mistakes, move on with optimism, and optimism can be very, very inspiring. And enthusiasm is the opposite of fear, because fear leads to failure. And as very many of us, change brings up the emotion of fear, as very many of us naturally feel that. I challenge you all to embrace the spirit of enthusiasm.
Wonderful, I love that. Latha.
For me, leadership is about having a vision, winning support for your vision, and then allowing your managers to execute on your vision without meddling.
To the point. Véronique.
All right, those of you who work with me will recognize that my motto has been always onwards and upwards. And if we look at what's happening in the industry, I think it's quite fitting. And it's about inspiring people to always be the best they can be and supporting them to grow. And I mean grow in all sense of the word. And it's about looking in the windshield. You can look in the rearview mirror and you will learn some lessons, but if you keep driving looking in the rearview mirror, you're going to hit a wall. And I think we're all looking and wanting maybe to hold on to the ways we've done things, what's comfortable, but we got to look in the windshield and on
What's on upwards? Betty, your words of wisdom.
Yeah, well, what I feel I am doing all the time is filling people's cups. What is that? It means that if a cup is half full, I really support that. If it is half empty, I try to convince them not to fear anything, to go forward and to, well, learn, grow and succeed.
Thank you. And Shirley, last but not least, I know yours and I love it.
Well, my, in fact, leadership or life philosophy is comfortable being uncomfortable. And I think vulnerability is also a very good virtue of leadership, because when we really express out our fear, then we can move on to faith in the journey. Then people can come along and we can contribute our ideas together. So we don't have to have that superhero front, but I think we should really share and collaborate, just like what GALA is about.
Thank you. I hope that you already see how much wisdom we have collected here. But let's go a little bit deeper, because when we talk about change, and especially also the changing environment that I touched upon, Véronique, starting with you, the conversations that you have been having with your clients, how have they changed? I mean, the last 6 months or the last year, or compared to maybe 10 years ago?
First thing is that I think that not all clients are created equal, and we tend to forget that when we come to an event like GALA, a lot of the client representatives are quite sophisticated in their needs, and there's localization departments, there's a lot of willingness to experiment with new solutions. But if you look across the language industry, you have some clients that think that translation memory today is the best invention since sliced bread, and they're not even aware of it. So I think it's important to understand really what the market is about, and that it is not just one market, it's actually different markets, and your solutions may fit different needs, different levels of maturity, and so on. So I think that's my first thing when it comes to clients. And some discussions you thought you would have had them in the 90s because that's when Trados came up, but you're having still these discussions today. The second thing is that when it comes to what's happening and the fast pace of change, I think that we're in the same boat. Again, maybe at different levels of maturity and experimentation, and it comes down to things that are not changing, which is this time, quality, and price triangle. You know, you call it digital transformation, you call it LLMs, you put whatever label on it, but the business needs are the same, whether you are a legal firm and you need to get your contracts out the door translated, or else that you are actually doing data collection or whatever service that is needed for your organization. I think that's an important thing. So it means that you gotta have these conversations and not make assumptions. And we are very quick to jump to assumptions because of what we know, and we look at things with our prism. But if you have these discussions and if you ask the questions and you're working through partnership, you will understand what is motivating your client, and it's going to help you really navigate and help them put the best solutions. So pushing solutions, say we do X, Y, Z, I don't think that works. No. I think you really need to kind of really get under the skin of your clients, have this conversation, and understand that clients too, and it was a great panel just after lunch with clients expressing their reality and understanding that, and then working with them to help them be successful.
Thank you very much. Ludmila, I don't know if you can relate to some of that, what Véronique said, well, but has that reflected also in the way that you run your business? Has your business model changed, you would say? Or is it actually still the same with variation?
The triangle doesn't change. Of course, we've changed our business model, and one of our first and things that is at the forefront is innovation right now. We're looking at ways we can implement AI, improve our processes across every part of the business. But what's interesting is different verticals are reacting differently. So the government vertical in the US is actually reacting in a very closed way to AI. We had some clients that had me sign affidavits that we will not use AI or MT in any parts of the process. And then we have the opposite side where the client comes in and wants everything now done through AI. So we're dealing with two extremes, looking at how to navigate it. And two things come to the forefront of my attention is the division between the two worlds. We all live in this world of AI, digital transformation, and if we look at what languages are not represented, there is somewhere between different numbers where you look at 1.7 billion to 3 billion, and some numbers even say 4 billion. So if we land in the middle, several billion people who don't even have digital presence, who don't have keyboards, who when they plug in their computer don't have any information available. And I think it's up to our industry to change that, and we can help change that part to make this new transformation available for all languages.
And that, of course, sounds great. But I think many of us ask, how do we do that? Because when you say also invest in innovation and technology, that requires resources and new people. And if you really also have to deliver and think on budget, so how do you then actually organize around that? Maybe question to you, Claudia, you have also been scaling your company, you've always building and growing. So when you get a new idea, or you can see, I need to invest in this, how do you organize around that and still, keep your business running?
It is a very complex topic, and in fact, Ivy Leagues spend a great deal of time analyzing how to integrate innovation whenever a business is operating. So we have spent a great deal of time with research and development, and in fact, we had to go and acquire a company that does automation, workflow, integration to be able, because I feel that the future is going to be really deeply embedded into the company systems. And for that, we need to become really workflow agnostic. So for that, we invested in that company. We already that there is change, but I want to be honest. We had been for 20 years using the same phones. We have been using for 30 years the same systems and desktop and operating systems, and it was really time for change. And I think right now we are a little shocked, but at the end, I think we are going to have to really embed all our content into these company systems to avoid taking data out and really all this back and forth in project management and things that don't add a lot of value. So really reinvesting back, putting your profits into technology and also doing good deeds is how we are spending our money.
Yeah, and as you said, and I like that, to say that, I mean, our ambition is, of course, to be everywhere. Language should be everywhere in every process and every workflow of the enterprises. And Betty, we had a discussion preparing for this panel where, and I absolutely loved you said the word hope. Right. Yeah. So not only that there's a hope for our industry, because there is a lot of doom and gloom, but also what do you from your experience see that the industry is actually, what is our role in terms of leading the way also for our clients?
I think that our role is just to tell everybody not to be scared. We are, I think, undergoing a period of transition, of anxiety, but that really is pushing us forward because we are part of this wave. We are surfing the wave. And we are human beings who are on top of a board that is technology. And the board alone cannot surf a wave. A human alone cannot surf a wave. Both together can serve the way. So I am hopeful that this is going to be for good. And, you know, coming from the, I was going to say a dirty word, I'm not going to say it. Coming from Argentina, what I can say is that we have learned to be very resilient, very flexible, and that is our industry. I mean, we are in the language industry, we are communicating, we are resilient, we have undergone many changes, so I'm not scared, I'm hopeful.
Thank you very much. And I think this is a wonderful segue also into the question I would put to you, Shirley. And you mentioned that already in the beginning, that for you it's not a leadership philosophy, but also a life philosophy. So it's very much how you are and how you act. So a question also that I ask myself very often, because sometimes leadership is also lonely, right? So how do you as a person cope with change? How do you learn? How do you develop? Is there any wisdom that you can share?
Mm-hmm. Well, I would say that, I don't know if I'm going to say that the other 5 ladies are going to shoot me, but well, when I know about the AI, especially the second half of last year, I was shaken. I was shaken to the core. For the first time, you know, I really, really believe that AI is going to affect, you know, if not all, but portion of the businesses. And it's really, when I wake up, I will think about it. When I sleep, I think about it. And then as time goes by, things settle, and as I really think about that I'm leading a corporation of 120 people, and I'm thinking about, hey, you know, let's just focus. Look at how am I going to stabilize? How am I going to give the livelihood to all these 120 people? Now, I think AI really wakes me up. It wakes me up from what? From my complacency, from taking for granted how the industry has been developing and how the clients have grown. So with that, I begin to look for what AI is used for. And if I may just spend 1 more minute on...
Only one.
So I was just having my own Starbucks lunch in London before I come, and there was a lady sitting beside me, and she happens to be a psychologist, a senior psychologist with the London Hospital, and she was sighing, and she was saying, Shirley, I think AI is going to take my job. And she said, because there's this online therapy app, And I was telling her, I say, well, let's look at it this way, because psychology is to help people in clarity of mind. And what if someone has something going on and it was in the wee hours, really midnight, and it was really in a, in a danger zone already? They can't reach you. Even if they want a human, to talk to them, they can't reach you. But if there's this online app, even though if it's just a very live form avatar with a very humanized voice, but that could save a life.
Mm-hmm.
So it really hits me that we have to look at AI as to what really it can be used for, same for our organization. So today, as I focus, as I come to realize what AI can do, not only for everyone, but for my organization and for myself, then I start to look at the fundamentals. Have I taken for granted about the cost, the efficiency, and the revenue of my company and the different departments? So this is something that I think, and maybe later I will share another thing that I observe in real life practical science. Yeah.
I think this is an example, also something that I always say. Actually, I need to share that. Now the keynote speaker is not here anymore. But just before he went on stage, I spoke to him just to learn a little bit more about what he was going to say. And I said, oh, how are you then touching on language? And he said, language? So it didn't even occur to him that AI is all about language, as I said, that in the core of everything we are talking about AI is actually language. And to connect to what you just said, Shirley, it is also the essence of humanity. And if we can combine that in the smartest possible way, that would be wonderful. So just to give a little bit of an outline here, these are big questions we are talking about. And again, in terms of hope, I think we have a way to lead, and we also have a vision to share, right? So I just want to put this question out to all of you now that we have been talking about leadership and also the constant in your leadership. Then what have you been rethinking about leadership recently? Is there anything that come to mind where you said, maybe...
So can I go
yes,
and
please.
talk about change management? I think it's really important for us to embrace change, but what we started to do is we saw a lot of price compression in the market, and we didn't want to play that game. So what we decided to do was look at it as playing the long game. Mm-hmm. Like, how do we leverage what strengths we have, build on those strengths, build our relationships and our networks, and then try to basically foster and understand the customer and bring them what we need by engaging with our language professionals, our employees, our customers, having constant conversations with them to find out what they need and to deliver to them what they want. So that's our change management approach in terms of bringing about that cultural transformation.
Yeah, but I find change management so difficult because people are in different paces all the time, right? How do you do that, Latha? How do you make sure that it happens?
Right. So basically, as a leader, I have to provide the vision for this cultural transformation and say what kinds of behaviors do we want to incentivize in the different groups of people, and how do we incentivize them? Do we satisfy base needs? Do we satisfy esteem needs? Do we give them purpose? And how do you do that and work within that framework for all of our constituencies, our employees, our language professionals, our vendors, our customers, and then work from there. And hopefully everybody works for their own good and they want, what's in it for them? So they're going to be motivated to act to serve your interest and the interests of everyone at large.
Yeah, I mean, you're touching...
It's hard.
It's hard, but you're also touching on something that, is true for many of us because we also an industry that outsources a lot. So how do we actually also execute change management on our, supply chain?
That's exactly right. You have to model the behavior that you want to see in others, and you want to demonstrate results and see them benefiting from it. So with your customers, for example, at the base, you satisfy their needs. At the middle level, you recognize them for behaviors that you want, to to reward, and then at the ultimate level, you want to satisfy their unrecognized needs, things that they are not even aware of that they need. You go out and satisfy them.
Yeah, maybe back to what you alluded to, Véronique, that they might also be 10 years behind in some areas.
I think that we are always learning how to lead. I think that it depends on the different stages of life. When you start, maybe you are defensive. You think that everybody is going to attack you. Then you get adjusted. Then you change again. You are in this fight or flight position. Then you pair and you say, okay, you do what you want. I'm going to watch and see what you can accomplish. And I think that now, with all these disruptions, we are learning to work together. We are learning to listen to others. So that's why I am so positive about this change, because I think that, it's not only coming to conferences like this where you learn, where you exchange your ideas, it's having new friends, meeting new people, meeting old people. It's all about feelings. So I don't think that AI is going to disrupt or to destroy our feelings.
Maybe back to supply chain. Just in the word chain, you have link, right?
Yeah.
And if you expect that your clients are going to share with you where they're headed, what they're trying to do, you have a duty to do the same thing with your resources, and you have to have them being with you on that journey. So telling them where you're headed from a strategic perspective, what they need to build up as skills, because you're seeing that becoming part of the services that you're going to deliver. And you'll see, it's my personal belief that a lot of the suppliers are going to want to embark there, because they're also kind of trying to figure out what's the future for them. And then, of course, the component that comes in there is that how do you help them train up and upskill and evolve.
So basically, you are trying also to share your vision to your supply chain, right?
It's also
You are.
And also, I'm sorry, leadership is changed today because we're seeing a lot of thought leadership emerging across the entire organization and across the supply chain, and being open and creating a framework and a process where you foster that those new emerging leaders at different levels of the organization is something that really drives innovation.
I would like to add, we need to stop thinking in one dimension. We are just not about output of words. And I have regarding the leadership perspective, I am honored to say that for the very first time in my company's history, women outnumber males. And all of them had been formed and created, or they are executives that started at Aagaard as college graduates. Another thing that I want to say is that I know by DNA by heart. I have studied through personalities, and I am putting them where they will succeed. But I also want to say, from the multidimensional side of the language industry, this is not only about words. And I am looking up to you as an industry, because we have a huge responsibility to source ethically. We also need to protect data. We need to protect their lives. It is very important from the cybersecurity. Data also is very expensive. We are talking a lot about words, but whenever we are talking about pricing, data, protecting data and transferring of data has become extremely expensive. And the last thing I want to say regarding this human side is that we have a huge responsibility to protect languages, because humankind gave it to us. We have beautiful work of Gabriel Garcia Marquez or Shakespeare. And we need to make sure that we preserve that for humankind, and that this does not get lost as we are trying to reach productivity through machines. It is very important, as ever, to prevent fraud and also to make sure that we are able to preserve languages for humankind.
Yeah, back to hope, back to humanity. So now let's see whether you have actually picked up on the task I gave you all. So over the last 2 days, I mean, the theme of the conference was the do's and don'ts and the myths. Have they been busted or have they not been busted? So what have you learned, Shirley? What have you learned the past 2 days?
Well, I can see that most of the sessions is really about readiness, getting us ready. And like today when I attended the Dell session on how we should reskill and upskill our project manager from just project-based service to more towards program-based service. So program-based service, definitely you will include a lot more on soft skills, knowing really how the clients would want to be served, and no clients are the same, so be it a LSP or is a direct client. So I think that really set the tone of the future of project management. That's one. And then another one is I was so happy regarding the opening panel today when we have the universities here, right, the academia here, who actually talk about the training. And I want to again talk about real life application. I was just with my nephew in Malaysia, and he's into IoT. And he showed me the application that his university, IoT, okay, it's not translation, it's not localization, it's Internet of Things, it's Industrial 4.0 Smart Factory. And he showed me that they are teaching them just to have one elect course on LLM. And they're actually using some .ai tools to build Bahasa Indonesian machine translation. And he knows nothing about machine translation. So, and then his final word was, "Auntie, even though I built this, it looks like it's very, it looks real, but I'm not sure whether what it means, everything." So that afternoon we talked a lot, because finally my nephew is able to know what industry I'm in and how this industry is so vital to the future of industrial and all this.
That is wonderful to hear. When I ask my daughter, she still says, "Oh, Mama is translating."
Yeah, so what I want to drive at
Which only shows the
Yeah.
complexity
Yeah.
of it. Ludmila, what have you learned?
Well, first of all, the vibe of this whole conference has been different. I think we have an increased level of collaboration, an increased level of curiosity, an increased level of willingness to help. This is probably new. We've always been an industry of collaborators, but this level is a new level that I'm experiencing and I'm feeling. And I think everybody is learning, everybody is trying to figure things out. I want to put another thing in perspective, and that is AI is replacing repetitive tasks. And if any of us is placed in a position of having to do a repetitive job over and over, we have in the past used the word, "this kills my soul." So in a way, AI offers us an opportunity to take over those tasks and step into the world of creativity, where through language, and it will really open right now to break the barriers of language communication. And I think the whole humanity is going to go to the next level, and language is at the very center and core of that.
Wonderful. Latha.
So I wrote down a couple of points because I didn't want to miss out. One is
So you learned so much that you have...
I just said, because we're assuming that AI is here to stay, we need to identify our value add and what we bring and the conversations that we should have with our customers, and especially those who are now suddenly more interested in the language industry than ever before. I think it's a huge opportunity for us to build their trust in using machines, but also educating them on the risks associated with that, and also to be cautious and engage humans with skill-enhancing AI tools. So that's one that I learned from a number of the sessions. The other is to expand the scope of using language services in a wide range of situations. So I come from very purpose-driven organization, and I'm very excited that more than ever before, we'll be able to improve civic participation in society, because I find vast sections of our population is left out. And so by integrating AI into humans, with human interpreters, it'll be a vast opportunity to expand the scope. And last but not least, I think very importantly, I'm full of ideas about how to upskill our own teams in order to adapt and be nimble and agile in embracing this new era.
Oh my God, that's a lot. Betty, what have you learned?
Well, really, I'm leaving this conference very, very motivated. And I really liked the keynote speaker. I felt very motivated. I liked your quote of Simon Sinek. I love that guy, the way he speaks. He's really optimistic. That's how I feel. I told you at the beginning, and I support this idea. And what I have learned is that it is a unique opportunity that we have as a language industry, because everybody, the whole world is speaking about AI. And we are in the core of AI. We are handling languages. So I think it's a unique opportunity to be known by everybody, and not, to be explaining what you do as an interpreter or what you do as a translator, or sometimes they don't take seriously our industry. I think that we are in the best time of our times.
So there's a
And
lot of
luckily
hope
I have to leave the office.
Claudia, what's your takeaway from the last 2 days?
Wow. Well, number one, the wine is amazing. And I just want to say thank you. I want to be able to go back, I think, with a message in the language industry. Since we have to transcend across cultures, it is very important for us to send a message of peace to the world. We are dealing with a lot of conflict, and I hope that in our role to protect languages and humankind, that we also protect the peace of the world together. The other thing that I want to say is that it gave me a lot of perspective about my vision. I was able, again, running a business is a very lonely world, and I was able to validate a lot, but I also, it's amazing to be able to meet people, but I also want to say that there is a great opportunity for brand new products and services, but also another responsibilities for us to help bring in and uplifting our workforce and being able to bring them to the brand new era of automation and AI.
Can I say something before
Yes.
we conclude?
Yes.
You might have noticed that some of us are wearing orange, blue,
Blue shoes.
yeah, blue shoes, good. And these are the colors of our association. But, well, doing some research, we have discovered that these are the colors of change.
Oh, amazing.
Yes, that very subtle iota. Véronique, last one. You mentioned a little bit. What do you want to add? So what are your key takeaways from?
Two takeaways. One, it came actually from Alex Binazzi, who said, we're sitting on a treasure, and the treasure is language data.
Yes.
And we've been curating this for years and years and years, and that's going to be the key. And I think the possibilities are actually endless, and we're in experimental stage, right? So nothing is baked yet, and I think that's also hopeful, because nothing is set, and we can shape that if we work together. And the second thing is that I was having a conversation with Pedro Orcas, and he said, Véronique, it's like a tsunami is coming to us. Yeah. And what do you do within a tsunami? Don't stay on the beach. Get up there, right? And I said, yeah, because you take perspective from that. And when it comes to leadership, I love this term, which is to be vulnerable with confidence. Yeah. And to me, that's GALA, is that you can open up, you can talk about the things that are on your mind, that are concerning you or making you happy or whatever, but you can do that with confidence, because there's a lot of, people coming to these events who are going to have these conversations with you, will understand and relate to what you're going through. So I think that being vulnerable with confidence is the way to grow. So that's my second takeaway.
May I add one more thing? as we are looking and adopting AI, the whole world is adopting AI. And we're actually in a very unique opportunity where as a whole world, we're looking at what is the ethical way of adopting AI in our field. So today we are rethinking that ethics and responsibility as a world, as nations, and a shameless plug-in, the recommendations for ethical adoption of AI in interpreting are open for public feedback on the website safeaitf.taskforce.org. So please, please make your comments.
Indeed.
Thank you so much for that shout out. Yeah, back to what you said, and I want to have a few moments also for you to either ask questions or maybe share your key takeaway before we go into the drinks. The drinks are downstairs somewhere, but it will be, no, upstairs at the pool, sorry. So this collective commitment that I opened this conference with to grow together, which is amazing, and I think it's wonderful you said that we can actually share that is the essence of GALA. But how do we also execute that? And how do we actually make the world aware that we are sitting on that treasure trove you are talking about? So is there anyone else who want to share key takeaways that can help us do exactly that? Or have questions to these wonderful people? Open the floor.
People want to get to their drinks.
Congratulations on the panel, amazing. It's just a thought, it's not a question. I was in local in June, and it was really the peak of the hype, right? And I came out of that conference, and I have shared this with some of my peers, feeling sad about not feeling leadership, responsibility for what our community is going through, how do we develop our teams. I was missing this panel. I was really missing that thought leadership, knowing that you think about this, that we're going to be okay, we haven't figured this out yet, and I really, really appreciate you sharing your thoughts today.
Thank you so much, I think, and cheers to you. And really also to the point and on being comfortable in the uncomfortable, but at the same time not being complacent, of course. Anyone else want to share thoughts, or are you really only going for the drinks? Dave? Dave has always something really, really innovative to say.
No pressure.
Don't put me on the spot or anything. I want to echo what India said. Firstly, great panel, great thoughts, great thought leadership. I was picking up a vibe of, culture. The word was used now and again, but I was kind of feeling, culture needed to, dare I say, surf the tsunami. What do you think about culture in this respect?
Yeah, question to you. Culture can mean a lot of things. What's that a question to you, Véronique, culture? Or
Culture,
you can kick it off.
Yeah, culture is your values, right? It's how you actually live in your values. And it's not just saying, I'm open or I'm transparent, whatever it is that your values are, okay, you can say it, but how do you live it? That's a different thing. And if you really want an organization to gel and to share a culture, first of all, I think that everybody in that ecosystem needs to feel that these values are important to them, but then also you need to illustrate how these values are lived in every day. And it might be a colleague helping someone and you celebrate that. And that's how culture is built. I think it's through examples, but also by reiterating what is it that drives your organization in terms of these values that, that make people be the best of themselves.
So I can also respond to that similarly. What we try to do is everything that somebody does that is a great achievement, we align it to purpose and values. So I will send a congratulations, you know, you did something that aligns with our values of innovation and collaboration. Something like that. So when you keep doing that, you kind of embody the work with the values and the purpose that you're driven by. And one of the things that we also want to foster is human connections. So we keep reinforcing that message.
Culture for me is, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Is our foundation. We can start building up something if we have a culture in place.
What I wanted to say is that our culture is also changing right now. We saw from the keynote speaker, the whole foundation is changing, and that can be unsettling. So being very aware about how culture is changing and allowing it to evolve and allowing the change to happen is something that is our responsibility as leadership, not sticking to the old, but allowing completely something new to emerge.
Yes, I would like to add very quickly that culture is also our job to preserve cultures. And because, again, there are different layers, and this is the reason why the human expression is so important, because we are in multi-dimension expression. A gesture, I am concerned, I come from a part of Colombia where we use a very specific way to talk, and none of my spell checks can use that or recognize it. So I'm very concerned also about the lack of protection of culture for humankind. And it is very important for us to also make sure that that layer is included in our preservation.
If I should try to summarize a little bit, and I can relate to what you just said, that, I mean, 6 months ago or a year ago on the hype, it was really about, is it AI or humanity? What I take away from these 2 days, it's actually both. Mm-hmm. And I think this is demonstrated everywhere. And thank you also, Betty, for mentioning the color orange, and again, if you Google, I Google it, and it actually means also energy, determination, strength, optimism, and connections. And again, to close this GALA conference is, that's what it's all about. And I'm also very hopeful and enthusiastic for our common future. And then let's also show it outside of this. Thank you very much, all of you. Have some great drinks.
Thank you to you guys.
Yes, and upstairs on 3rd floor at the upstairs, 1st floor.